Welcome to our quick guide on how a 3D printer works. These things are amazing. You literally design something in the computer and the printer makes it real. In this video, we'll break down the process into easy to understand steps. Stick around, you'll be printing out your own stuff before you know it. Everything starts with an idea, right? But to get that idea out of your head and into the real world, you've got to design it. And that's where computer-aided design, or CAD, comes in. We're talking software that lets you create a 3D model of whatever you're dreaming up. Now, if you're not ready to jump into the world of CAD just yet, no worries. There are tons of pre-designed models online. Thingiverse, Umagine, even NASA has a library of 3D models you can download. All right. So, we've got our digital model. It's time to slice and dice, digitally speaking, of course. This is where special software comes in, kind of like a digital deli slicer for your 3D model. It takes your design and divides it into hundreds, sometimes thousands of super thin horizontal layers. Think of it like looking at a loaf of bread. Each slice is a layer, and when you put them all together, bam, you've got your 3D printed object. Now, before we hit print, we got to make sure our 3D printer is ready to rock and roll. First up, filament. That's the plastic-like material that our printer is going to use to create our object. It comes in a spool, kind of like a giant spool of thread, and you feed it into the printer. Next, the print bed. That's the flat surface where all the magic happens. We need to make sure it's clean, no fingerprints or dust bunnies allowed, and that it's perfectly level. Just like a good cake, a level print bed means a successful print. All right, we are ready to go. Hit that print button and watch the magic happen. The printer takes those sliced layers we talked about and gets to work. It heats up the filament, turning it into a semi-liquid state, and then extrudes it through a nozzle. Think of it like squeezing frosting out of a piping bag. Only instead of frosting, we're laying down molten plastic. The nozzle dances around the print bed, following the instructions from the sliced model, and deposits the filament in those thin, precise layers. Our printer is a marvel of modern engineering. It lays down each layer of filament with incredible precision, one on top of the other. As each layer goes down, it cools and solidifies, bonding with the layer below it. This process repeats layer by layer, gradually building up our object from the bottom to the top. It's like watching a skyscraper rise right before your eyes, only in miniature. Once the printer lays down that last layer, our work here is almost done. But before we can hold our creation, we've got to let it cool down and solidify completely. This is important because it allows the plastic to harden and reach its full strength. Depending on the size and complexity of our print, this cooling process can take a few minutes to a few hours. But trust me, the wait is worth it. Now we carefully remove the object from the print bed. And that's it. The 3D printer uses the digital model as a blueprint and builds the physical object by adding material layer by layer. It's a fascinating technology with applications in prototyping, manufacturing, design, and even healthcare. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos.